Hello all, my name is Krish Naik and welcome to my YouTube channel. So guys, in this video, we are going to understand why you should probably learn Python in 2023. It'll be super important for your career if you are specifically working in data science, machine learning. Not only that, as you all know, Python is a versatile programming language. It will actually help you to create web application. It'll also is useful for creating desktop application, for performing your EDA, and many more things if you really want to create APIs and so many things as such. Yes, there are questions which people will usually say that Python is slow and all, but don't worry about all those things because now even every cloud platform like AWS, Google Cloud, even Azure, these are also coming up with various deployment techniques considering Python application in mind, right? So we will discuss about many things over here, but just this video is to give you an roadmap about how you should probably learn Python and why Python is specifically important. And just with the recent OpenAI that has specifically come API, I'm just going to give you an amazing use case. Like if you just know Python programming language and if you know how to develop a project, complete end-to-end project, any Python project, you will also be able to work clearly with the OpenAI API itself without knowing the background information about machine learning and all. Yes, this is also possible, but don't think that you will be able to clear any data science interviews when you probably go into the interview itself, because they are going to ask you everything from basics. So let me go ahead and let me share my screen. And here Python is in the center. As you know, through Python, we can do a lot of things. Let's start with web application. Specifically, if I talk about web application over here, if I talk about desktop application, right? Desktop application. And if I probably see web application, desktop application is obviously there. Specifically, this is also useful in data science, right? Data science. Amazing companies like Facebook and Google have come up with the libraries which is called as TensorFlow, right? TensorFlow, I hope everybody may have used it or heard it at least, or PyTorch, right? So these all libraries are also compatible with Python. That basically means all the recent research, advanced research that are going on, right? Most of them uses these two libraries, TensorFlow or PyTorch. So again, Python is compatible with respect to this, for creating applications. It will be definitely helpful. Here, obviously, a lot of libraries are there in Python's, more than lakhs and lakhs of packages, open source packages. What is the core strength of Python? Specifically, if I talk about, it is the open source packages or libraries. And because of this, you don't have to write many lines of code, right? So here specifically, I'm going to write libraries, right? Not only this, if I probably say with respect to databases like SQL, MongoDB, here also it has specific packages or libraries through which you will also be able to do the programming with respect to SQL, ask any queries with respect to MongoDB, and many more things. Now, why I'm writing all these specific things, and obviously you have heard about other open source libraries like NumPy, Pandas, right? Matplotlib, Seaborn, Matplotlib, and these all are also super important, right? Matplotlib, right? So in short, this actually helps you to perform a lot of exploratory data analysis, feature engineering, and not only here, right? The most important thing whenever we talk about data is about statistics. For performing any statistical analysis, you also have a special library over there with respect to Python, which will actually help you to perform all the statistical analysis. So this statistical analysis will be helpful as a data analyst, as a data scientist. Specifically, if I talk about some of the tests that you will be seeing, Z-test, T-test. If you have not seen this, I've created some all dedicated videos regarding this, right? Z-test, T-test. These are kind of inferential statistics, right? Inferential statistics. So all these things are there. Just imagine how powerful it is. Obviously, I'm not talking about web application, desktop application much, but obviously, if you know about Flask, Django specifically uses an MVC architecture. With respect to desktop application, you have libraries through which you will be able to create desktop applications, all compatible with cloud platforms like Google Cloud, right? AWS. Even AWS, if you know about SageMaker, through Python only you'll be able to create your end-to-end projects, do the deployment and do many things as such. And then you also have Azure. And in Azure, you have Azure ML Studio. You have so many different things. And even As we go ahead, there are a lot of MLOps tool, right? MLOps tool, right? If I probably say GitHub Actions, with this help of GitHub Action, we basically create CI/CD pipelines, right? All compatible with Python end-to-end projects. If I say GitLab, if I say MLflow, if I say DVC, so there's all kind of videos, specifically end-to-end projects. Everything is basically created, and I've also shown that how you can use these tools with respect to the deployment in all these cloud platforms like Google Cloud, AWS, Azure, right? So overall, a lot of different functionalities. Definitely with Python you are able to do it, right? And I probably guess, let's see guys, I don't think so we have any powerful programming language that can do all these specific things. Specifically when I say with respect to data science, AI applications, deep learning, computer vision, everywhere it is used, right? Everywhere it is specifically used, right? But now let's talk about the roadmap, the exact roadmap that you should probably begin with. And trust me guys, I'll talk about an incident that happened, right? So there was one of my subscribers who had just recently started learning about machine learning, right? He was a Python developer, right? He just knew, he was probably doing this web application kind of work using Django. So this was the task that he used to specifically do in his company. Now, one of the tasks was that he was working for an e-commerce website. His client was basically having an e-commerce website. Now, considering this e-commerce website, one of the tasks was that there are a lot of products and there are reviews that are probably there. Okay. So his client directly asked a question, please try to use OpenAI API itself and try to probably talk about that products, give some kind of ratings for that product, or if it is a positive comment, if it is a positive review, just make a green tick, something like that kind of task. And obviously, if you know to work with Flask or Django, if you probably know how to actually at least work in end-to-end Python project, okay, end-to-end Python project, then this will be more than sufficient at least to integrate an OpenAI API itself. I'll tell you why this is super important. Now, that guy did not had any idea about machine learning, deep learning and all. He used OpenAI API and then he just sent a text and he was able to get the response saying that whether it is positive or negative. Okay, positive or negative. Not only this, he later on created his own data set. He fine-tuned with OpenAI API, and fine-tuning with OpenAI API is very simple. Just by seeing the documentation, you'll be able to do it. But does not mean that you don't need to learn machine learning or deep learning. He's saying that now I'll start machine learning and deep learning because understand in the interviews, they'll ask all these basic things. And that is how you will be able to do the fine tuning. But just imagine that guy, he did not had much knowledge about it, but he know how to create an end-to-end project. He was quickly able to implement this functionality and he later got a very good appreciation from the client itself, right? And this is what he has done. And just recently, just a couple of weeks back, this was a story that I came to know about it. Now you can understand if I probably discuss about the roadmap, what things you should specifically focus on. Roadmap to learn Python, right? Learn Python, right? And now roadmap, start initially with the basic data structures. Basic data structures specifically. If I talk about data structures, they are something like list, string, tuples, dictionaries, all these things you can probably learn it, right? And I don't think so. There are so many materials available. You have my entire playlist over there. Hardly in 30 videos, you can become an expert in Python. Okay, I've even uploaded videos in my Krish Naik Hindi YouTube channel. You can definitely check it out. The second thing after this is that understand how logging and exception handling works. Okay, exception handling works. Then probably try to complete OOPS concept. In the OOPS concept, specifically, if I talk about, you need to learn about inheritance. Okay, you need to probably learn about encapsulation. If you know inheritance, at least that is more than sufficient. Okay, encapsulation, you can probably learn about class methods, static methods. All these things are there. Class methods, static method. The reason why I'm saying you to probably learn all these things, I'll tell you just. Okay, static methods. Now, once you are able to do this, jump into understanding how an end-to-end project is completed. End-to-end Python project, specifically Python project. Now, when I say end-to-end Python project, I want to completely use modular coding. Modular coding. Okay, completely modular coding. And modular coding, I specifically want to do it with the help of tools like IDs, like I can probably use VS Code or PyCharm. Okay. Now here what I will do is, when I'm creating this modular coding, I will probably create a proper structure, create an environment, probably implement logging and exceptional handling properly, probably create classes, and it can be any kind of project. It can be a web scraping project. It can be a calculator project. Always try to use this modular coding and try to create your entire project structure. Okay. And for data science, obviously after this only you can probably begin. Then you have some amazing libraries like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, right? Matplotlib. Then you have Seaborn. You try to learn these libraries, and from this you'll be able to perform EDA, feature engineering, right? Whenever I talk about, see, once you're able to do this, right, then you probably need to learn a machine learning algorithm and try to probably implement an algorithm itself, right? Or try to implement or solve a problem statement, right? But always remember, with respect to Python, here also you need to follow, if you're planning to become a data scientist, life cycle of a data science project. Because whatever life cycle we specifically focus, that same project can be implemented just by using OpenAI API itself. And if you are very much versed with this, probably you know how to work with APIs, how you need to create APIs itself over here with the help of Flask or Django, right? That will be more than sufficient to start with, right? So here I've just given you the basic roadmap. This will at least get you till job. Now, when I say life cycle, the first step, I'll try to divide it in a very simple way. One is data ingestion. The next step is nothing but data ingestion basically means reading it from some kind of source, right? And here also, I will definitely talk about SQL database and NoSQL database. So try to use this, okay? So here, what I'm actually going to do along with Flask and Django, when you're working, try to specifically use a SQL or NoSQL database, okay? Just to start with, okay? So data ingestion basically means reading from a specific data source. And the next step specifically that we have is nothing but data transformation. Here only, whatever things we have specifically learned in statistics and all, specifically we try to transform the data. Here we perform feature engineering, we perform EDA and many more things, right? We handle the missing values, we handle the outliers, and this is a dedicated video that I've actually already created, right? Then you specifically have something called as model training and evaluation. Now, the reason why I'm writing this, because every project, and finally you have the deployment. What may change in the future is only these two steps, right? This can be replaced by the OpenAI API. This can be only replaced in the future, okay? This all steps will be almost same for every data science project. Deployment will also be same. Here also you will be using a CI/CD pipeline. It can be GitHub Action. It can be using Dockers, right? All these things will be there. But understand, these all are already compatible. Now, model training, before you used to use sklearn, probably PyTorch or TensorFlow. Now you can probably directly use OpenAI API. As we go ahead, probably there are a lot of things that are going to come up with respect to images, with respect to text. Right now we just have text. Most of the use cases are something related to text. But developing this entire project with the help of Python code, at least one project you require it. And that I have also done it in my YouTube channel, right? Trust me guys, what may change in the future, this two part, remaining all the important, all the things will be important. Data ingestion, data transform, or how you should basically create an end-to-end project with the help of Python. This will matter a lot. This will matter a lot. This will be the most important thing. How do you write a code? How do you probably convert that into an application? Okay. So I hope you got the idea. I've written each and everything, why Python is important. This was it from my side. Start learning Python if you have not started. Keep it as a hobby at least. Yes, this was it from my side. I will see you all in the next video. Have a great day. Thank you and all. Take care. Bye-bye.